Sylvia here with Vintage Kitchen Vixen, where I share tips with you on creating memorable gatherings, simple living, and creating wholesome and traditional recipes. And today I am going to be talking about cooking and using cast iron skillets. I do have a couple of cast iron skillet recipes available so far, and I'm working on more, but today I thought I'd give you the lowdown on cast iron cooking and why I use cast iron skillets. I'm pretty new to the whole cast iron skillet wave, and the whole reason why I am switching over, I'm eventually going to phase out my nonstick fryware because A, it's full of toxic chemicals that aren't very good for me or my family. And cast iron, there's just so many benefits to it that I don't understand why. I still have my non-stickware, but it's still in pretty good shape and I don't want to throw it out. But that is a whole reason why cast iron is a great option, is because these things are built to last a lifetime if you take good care of them, as opposed to, I mean, do you know anybody who has had a non-stick pan that stayed with the family for generations? I don't know anybody. But these things, you can get vintage skillets and you can reseason them and still use them. This one I've had for about a year and we're still in the process of getting acquainted. But I'm going to share some tips and best practices for cast iron skillet use. So the one thing about cast iron skillets is that they are good heat conductors. Once you heat up the cast iron skillet, it's pretty hot all over the place and it will cook your food evenly. That being said, once you have it heated up, first off, tip number one, you want to preheat the skillet. Never put food into a cold cast iron skillet or it's going to stick and make a mess. Don't do it. You might be tempted. You know, another thing that you might be tempted to do is stirring your food prematurely. Once you put your food, whether that's a chicken breast or a fried egg, leave it alone. Let it cook. And it's going to get this little crust underneath and then it'll flip easily after that. But if you try moving it around prematurely, it is going to stick or make a mess. You want to cook foods that either have fat or that need fat to cook. So cast iron is a great conductor for searing meats, whether that's chicken or beef, whatever it is, it's going to get a nice beautiful sear on it. And it's wonderful for those foods that need fat, like pancakes or eggs. And I don't know about you, but I like cooking mine in butter and it's perfect for that. It's also great for stir-frying vegetables in fat or anything else that needs fat. What it's not good for is steaming anything. It's not good for making stews because it's just not. It's not what it's meant for. Because it has that non-stick relationship with your food, if you use it correctly, you don't need to clean it after every use. You can just give it a wipe with a towel and it'll be fine. Now, if you do need to clean it, a lot of people say don't use soap. Other people say soap's good. I generally do not clean it with soap. Usually it's just hot water and a stainless steel sponge that I clean it with. And then when you do clean it, you want to make sure that every speck of water is dried off. Otherwise, you risk your cast iron rusting. And if it rusts, then you might have to season it again. On the subject of seasoning, that's pretty easy. Most cast iron skillets come pre-seasoned these days. But if you do get something that's used or that needs to be visibly seasoned because it's been forgotten for a long time and it's getting a little bit of rusty. What you do is clean it as thoroughly as possible with soap and get every speck of rust off. And then after that, you dry it off completely. You coat it in oil, so you can use coconut oil, you can use avocado oil or vegetable oil. You want to use an oil that has a high smoke point, so don't use olive oil. After it's oiled and patted down, because you don't want it dripping in oil, you pop it into a preheated oven, say around 400 or 450 degrees, depending on how bold you're feeling, and you just pop it in the oven upside down and leave it alone for an hour. And that means it'll come out looking glossy and black and ready to use and perfectly seasoned. And if it doesn't, just repeat the process again. Another tip is to avoid cooking acidic foods in a cast iron pan, because there is concern that it will either strip off your nicely seasoned, I guess, coating. I don't know if it's a coating, but it'll strip it down. Also, your food might have a metallic taste and it might discolor your food as well. Now, I do have a recipe. It's for tequila lime chicken quesadilla, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly encourage that you do, because it's amazing. Now, I do cook that in my cast iron and it's fine. And I think it's just because I'm not dumping the whole bag of marinade in with my chicken. I drain it and then I put it in. So it's very minimal. It's not like I'm making a tomato sauce in my cast iron pan, which would probably risk it taking on more of those qualities of that metallic taste and discoloring. So just be mindful of that if you do add anything that has a heavy acidic presence in your recipes. I don't know what kind of stove you're using at home, but I personally have a glass top stove. Now, some people are concerned about using cast iron on glass tops because it might scratch the surface or it might even shatter it. I've never used anything else with my cast iron cooking because that's all I have, and I'm going to use what I have, and I'm not going to not cook with cast iron because I have a glass top stove. Don't think I have any scratches on my stove. It cooks fine. One recommendation that I have heard is to never put an ice cold skillet onto a hot element. That just seems like common sense, and I've never been in a situation where I've ever felt the need to do that. Now, because cast iron doesn't need to be washed frequently, there is the risk of some of your cooking flavor seeping into some of your other dishes. Usually I cook a lot with butter and I don't mind that, but if you're maybe making a fish dish in your cast iron, you will want to give that a good scrubbing, otherwise your next meal is going to taste like fish, because it does have a little bit of a porous quality at the end of the day. And with that being said, I know some cast iron cooks, they like to have two different skillets. So they have a separate one where they make desserts in, and the other one's, whatever they're making that's on the menu. That's just something to keep in mind. I only have the one skillet for now, but there's definitely plans to add to my cast iron collection and give this one a friend. I kind of want to name this cast iron skillet Bertha. Is that a good name for a skillet? You tell me, maybe you can help me name my skillet. She's 12 inches. Oh yes, what kind of things to cook in the cast iron skillet? So again, there's anything with fat. It's great for meats, it's great for pancakes, for frying eggs, for vegetables that are just getting a little saute. Some people, they like doing pizzas in their cast iron pan, and there are a lot of people that make desserts like giant cookies and crumbles and pies, sourdough biscuits, and all kinds of things. It's just go wherever you want to go, experiment, have fun, That's the message I'm always trying to put out. Have fun, play, experiment, see what works, what doesn't work. At the end of the day, again, these skillets are meant to last, and it takes a lot to really do damage on one. If you do hurt it, you can always re-season it, and that takes what, maybe an hour out of your life. It's not a bad way to spend time, and most of it's just in the oven, so you can do whatever you want it is that you do. And as for utensils, I usually use my silicone rubber spatula. It's my best friend in my kitchen, but you can use metal. I just wouldn't use plastic because it does get super hot. And on that note, you can get little silicone handles for your cast iron cookware so that you're not accidentally reaching for it and burning your hand. I usually just use an oven glove because I don't have one of those silicone handles yet. An oven glove does the trick. If you've never cooked with cast iron skillets before, I highly recommend it. It's a game changer in the kitchen. At first, it does take some time getting used to, but after a while, you'll be sold. You just need to give it time, and eventually your cast iron pan will become a well-seasoned friend. And like anything, well, like a lot of things, cast iron is one of those things that become better with age. The more you use it, the more of a dream it's going to become to work with. We're still building a relationship together, but we're gonna get there. We just need to be patient with each other. And so far, I've loved using my cast iron skillet, and I hope I'm inspiring you to go out and get one for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen today. I hope you got something from my little cast iron rave review. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing, like, comment, and share with somebody who you think would like this. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.